respected dignitaries present in this auditorium, distinguished invited speakers, esteemed faculty members, and most importantly, the intellectually vibrant participants, students, and scholars of Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Lucknow. Please accept my warm greetings. I am Professor Jaya Srivastav, Professor of Sociology at BBAU. My research interests lie in gender studies, and very recently, I have had the honor of assuming the role of director at the Center for the Study of Social Inclusion here at BBAU. So it is in this capacity that I wish to share my reflections today on the pressing theme of reimagining women's safety at workplace and in public spaces through the lens of social inclusion. So friends, this topic is not only urgent, but profoundly interdisciplinary. It calls upon us to weave together insights from sociology, political science, psychology, economics, education, law, and feminist thought to understand the complex realities of safety. Friends, women's safety is not merely a matter of physical protection. It shapes our daily routines, our aspirations, our confidence, and our psychological well-being. In other words, it is central to the very idea of inclusion and equality. And as a student and researcher of sociology and gender studies, I see this dialogue as both a privilege and a responsibility. It is a privilege because we are engaging in collective academic thought on an issue that touches lives everywhere. And it is a responsibility because the solutions we imagine today must translate into safer, more inclusive workplaces and public spaces tomorrow. So, friends, before I delve deeper, let me express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of TEDx for selecting BBAU as the venue for discussions on themes of such contemporary relevance. And this platform allows us to not only exchange ideas, but also to inspire action. So friends, I invite you to journey with me into this theme, where safety is not seen in isolation, but as part of the broader project of social inclusion. And together, let us reimagine spaces where women can thrive without fear, where inclusion is not a slogan, but a lived reality, and where safety becomes the foundation of empowerment. So friends, today I want to talk about a paradigm shift in how we understand women's safety. For too long, safety has been framed as protection, as shielding women from harm. But true safety is not about building walls, but it is about opening doors. It is about empowerment. And safety must be seen as an enabling tool, one that allows women to participate fully, confidently, and equally in the mainstream of society. And that is why I say safety is inclusion, because true equality begins with secure spaces. And now, some may ask, why speak of safety in workplaces and public spaces when women are already walking in space, conquering Mount Everest, and piloting space shuttles? The answer is simple. These extraordinary achievements inspire us, but they do not reflect everyday reality. And for millions of women, the journey to school, to workplace, or even to the marketplace is still fraught with insecurity. And so, until every street, every office, every campus is a secure space, equality remains incomplete. So we can say safety is not a privilege. It is a foundation of participation, and without it, inclusion is impossible. And with it, women can not only dream, but also lead, shape, and transform society. Imagine a situation when you are walking into a workplace where your talent is valued, but your safety is uncertain. Imagine you are stepping into a public space where opportunity exists, but fear shadows every step. For millions of women, this is not an imagination, friends, but it is a stark reality. So, safety is not just about protection, it is the foundation of participation. And participation is what transforms societies. So, friends, safety is not a privilege, but it is a right. And inclusion is not a favor, but it is the future. When the state ensures women's safety, it opens the door to their full participation. And when women are included, society itself becomes stronger, fairer, and more innovative. And let us remember, ensuring safety is the first step, and enabling inclusion is the destination, and together they are the path to true equality. So today, I want to show you why ensuring safety is the first step and enabling inclusion is the ultimate goal. Friends, across workplaces, campuses, and city streets, women continue to navigate environments where safety is fragile. And this fragility limits mobility, confidence, and opportunity. And the state's responsibility cannot be reduced to policing or punishment. It must extend to creating systems where safety and inclusion are inseparable. So, friends, we can say safety is not a stand-alone issue. It is woven into the fabric of inclusion. And safety and inclusion are not two separate goals, but they are two sides of the same promise. When a woman feels safe, she participates. And when she participates, she transforms the space around her. Think of a workplace where women can speak without fear of ridicule, where public transport allows them to travel freely, where institutions listen them when they raise concerns, and these are not just safety measures, they are acts of inclusion. And inclusion, in turn, strengthens safety. When women are visible in leadership, in policy making, in decision making, they shape environments that protect and empower others. Friends, it reflects that representation becomes prevention. But when safety fails, inclusion collapses. The absence of secure spaces pushes women out of opportunity, out of mobility, and out of voice. And that is why the state's role cannot stop at protection, but it must extend to participation. And so we can say safety is the foundation and inclusion is the structure built upon it. So together they form the architecture of equality which is strong, visible, and enduring. And if safety and inclusion are inseparable, then the question before us is simple. What kind of society do we want to build? And do we want workplaces where women are present but silent? Or workplaces where they are safe enough to lead? Do we want public spaces where fear dictates mobility, or spaces where inclusion guarantees freedom? So friends, today I invite you to engage with a series of critical questions. Is women's safety a privilege to be granted, or is it a fundamental right embedded in the ethos of democracy? So what compels the state to not only act but lead from the front in securing gender-just public and private spaces? And finally, what immediate and long-term reforms can we envision to build inclusive and sustainable safety mechanisms in society? So by addressing these questions, I'm not here to merely to share information. I'm here to foster reflection and perhaps even to spark action. Because friends, women's safety is not solely about protection. It is about recognition. It is about justice. And it is about transforming the very structures that normalize discrimination, violence, and vulnerability. So friends, we must introspect, discuss, and confront these questions. This issue lies at the intersection of social structure, gender-based discrimination, the state, sustainable safety, and the creation of a gender-just society. And the answers to all these questions, friends, lie in how the state, institutions, and communities choose to act. Visions becomes essential. A vision where safety is not the ceiling but the floor upon which inclusion stands tall. So in today's discussion, we will explore how the state can serve as a powerful agency for dismantling gender disparities, promoting inclusivity, and fostering sustainable societies. Let me begin with the first question. Is women's safety a privilege or a fundamental right? Friends, as we all know that India has a robust legal frameworks. Women's safety is enshrined as a fundamental right under Article 14, 15, 19, and 21 of the Constitution, which guarantee equality, protection from discrimination, and the right to life with dignity and liberty. And we also have landmark legislation, such as the POSH Act of 2013, aimed at preventing and redressing sexual harassment at the workplace. Yet, despite these safeguards, the lived reality often contradicts the legal promise. Think back to our childhood, friends, when parents and elders instructed us, don't stay out too late, come home before sunset, and don't talk to strangers, and don't go outside alone at night. Friends, these instructions reflect stereotypical gender role expectations, and they endorse a culture of caution ingrained in our psyche, where safety is seen as a precondition for freedom. But we must ask, is caution the only way to stay safe? Or can we collectively redesign society so that safety is not a privilege but a right? As Gloria Steinem, a very reputed thinker, she reminds us women's rights are human rights. And this resonates powerfully in India, especially in the aftermath of the Nirbhaya case of 2012, where mass protests catalyzed legal reforms, but also exposed systemic failures in ensuring basic dignity. So, friends, in India, India's constitutional framework promises equality and dignity. Yet, the gap between constitutional morality and institutional practice remains stark. Friends, legal reforms alone cannot undo these problems. From dowry deaths to cyber harassment, from violence against women in India uh, to honor killing are overt and insidious. And the normalization of control over women's mobility, attire, and autonomy perpetuates insecurity. So, what reforms are needed for sustainable safety? Friends, legal reforms rooted in gender justice, this is first and foremost, which is required, and it strengthens workplace harassment, redressal, and ensuring accountability in law enforcement. Second reform, what we can do is educational interventions like gender just pedagogy in the schools and universities to challenge gender norms and cultivate empathy. Third is economic empowerment. It means recognizing caregiving labor, ensuring equal pay, and supporting women in informal sectors. And next is cultural shifts. Media, literature, and public discourse must dismantle stereotypes and celebrate diverse gender expressions. So, friends, reforms must be rooted in consciousness, not mere compliance. So, we must challenge the narratives that normalize inequality. So, let us be clear, women's safety is non-negotiable. It is not a privilege, but it is a fundamental human right. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that every woman, whether in the workplace or outside, can live without fear. Women deserve to be work in the environments where they feel safe, respected, and empowered. And friends, this extends beyond physical safety. It includes emotional, psychological well-being too. And we must create spaces where women can thrive free from fear and supported by a culture of respect and inclusion. So women's safety isn't just women's issue. It affects everyone. And when women are safe, our entire society is stronger. So what does a society look like when safety and inclusion walk hand in hand? It looks like, friend, it looks like classrooms where girls are not only present but leading discussions. It looks like workplaces where women's voices shape decisions without fear of dismissal. And it looks like public spaces where mobility is freedom, not risk. Friends, but this vision is not abstract. It is achievable, it is attainable, but it requires the state to act not just as a protector, but as enabler. And laws must be enforced, yes, but policies must also open doors. And institutions must not only prevent harm, but actively create pathways for participation. So, communities must not only shield women, but celebrate their leadership. The call to action is clear. Safety must be guaranteed. Inclusion must be enabled and equality must be lived, because when women are safe, they step forward, and when they are included, they transform, and when they transform, society itself rises. So safety is the first step and inclusion is the destination, and together they are the path to true equality. So the key takeaways are: safety is the foundation, यानी सुरक्षा ही आधार है, because without secure workplaces and public spaces, women cannot participate fully. सुरक्षित कार्यस्थल और सार्वजनिक स्थानों के बिना महिलाएं पूर्ण रूप से भागीदारी नहीं कर सकती. And second takeaway is inclusion is the goal. समावेशन है लक्ष्य. True equality means women are not just protected but empowered to lead and contribute. यानी सच्ची समानता का अर्थ है कि महिलाएं केवल संरक्षित नहीं बल्कि नेतृत्व और योगदान के लिए सशक्त हों. And the third takeaway is state as enabler. राज्य है सक्षम करता. Policies, institutions, and governance must integrate safety with inclusion to drive social progress. यानी नीतियाँ, संस्थाएं और शासन को सामाजिक प्रगति के लिए सुरक्षा और समावेशन को एकीकृत करना चाहिए. So as we conclude, let us remember that safety and inclusion are not abstract ideals. They are responsibilities we must carry into our daily lives. And each of us has the power to ensure that our spaces remain respectful, our voices remain united, and our actions reflect the values of equality and justice. So, the true measure of this gathering will not be in the words spoken today, but in the courage with which we uphold them tomorrow. So let us walk out of this hall not just inspired, but committed to protect, to include, and to lead with integrity. So let's work collectively to ensure sustainable safety for entire society. As Audre Lorde powerfully stated, we have been taught that silence would save us, but it won't. Let us speak, act, and reimagine a society where safety is not a slogan, but a lived reality. And finally, I want to conclude with a hope that let us not merely speak about change, let us be that change through our voices, through our votes, through our policies, and our everyday choices. So we can say the safety of women is not a women's issue, it is a societal imperative, it is the gateway to social inclusion. And social inclusion is the guarantee that safety measures are meaningful and transformative. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your patience listening. Thanks.